Imagine, for a moment, that you are the steward of a $50 million experimental jet. You wouldn't dare fill its tanks with low-grade commercial fuel and expect it to pierce the stratosphere. You would demand the highest octane, most refined propellant in existence. Yet, when it comes to the most complex, expensive, and powerful piece of biological engineering in the known universe, your child's developing brain, most of us are settling for convenient instead of optimal. If you feel like you are constantly battling your child's moods, if you are struggling with their lack of focus, or if you simply feel that they aren't reaching their peak cognitive potential, I want you to consider a hard truth. You might be moving in the wrong direction. Not because you don't care, but because you were given the wrong map. You were taught to feed the stomach while the brain was quietly starving. Today, we shatter the myth of empty calories. We are going deep into the neurobiology of success. We are moving beyond picky eating and into biological stewardship. This is the Parenting IQ Master Protocol for fueling the elite mind. The biological lockdown. The case of Leo. To understand the power of neuronutrition, we must look at Leo. Leo was 4 years old, born into a family of high achievers, but Leo was flickering. He was restless, highly reactive, and his attention span was measured in seconds, not minutes. His parents, driven, successful professionals, felt a growing sense of quiet desperation. They tried the best schools, they tried behavioral therapy, they tried gentle parenting. Nothing worked. The diagnosis most would jump to, ADHD, or perhaps a difficult temperament. But the parenting IQ perspective looked deeper. Leo wasn't a problem child. Leo was a child in biological lockdown. His diet, while normal by modern standards, was a disaster for a developing prefrontal cortex. He was stuck in a glucose loop, a cycle of sugar spikes and insulin crashes that kept his amygdala, the brain's fear center, in a state of constant high alert. His brain was trying to build a superhighway of neural connections, but he was only giving it the materials to build a dirt road. The intervention was simple, yet radical. We didn't change his behavior, we changed his architecture. By removing the neural fog of processed carbohydrates and replacing them with high-density choline and structural phospholipids, Leo's biology shifted. Within 90 days, his working memory scores didn't just improve, they jumped by 30%. His tantrums vanished, not because he learned self-control, but because his brain finally had the fuel to power the centers of logic and regulation. Leo didn't need a new teacher, he needed a new fuel source. The science of supremacy, the 90% window. Why is this so urgent? Because of the 90% window. Statistical data is cold, but it is honest. 90% of a human brain's physical development is completed before the age of 5. 5 years. That is your window to architect the foundation of their entire life. Every meal you serve during these years is not just food, it is a neural building block. Consider the process of myelination. Think of your child's neurons like high-speed fiber optic cables. Myelin is the insulation that wraps around these cables. When the insulation is thick and high quality, signals travel at light speed. This is the biological definition of quick thinking and focus. If that insulation is thin or missing because of nutrient scarcity, the signals leak, the brain slows down, the child becomes reactive instead of active. Research into neuroplasticity proves that children with high intakes of specific neurofuels show 15% more density in the prefrontal cortex, the seat of executive function, leadership, and emotional intelligence. You aren't just feeding a toddler, you are building a CEO. You are architecting a visionary. You are stewarding a legacy. The Elite Neuro-Fuel Protocol. So, what are the gold-plated circuits of the human brain? If we are to move from body filling to brain fueling, we must prioritize the 3 pillars of neuronutrition. Pillar 1, the choline king. Choline is the memory molecule. It is the precursor to acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for focus and learning. High-density sources like organic egg yolks and grass-fed liver are not just food, they are cognitive enhancers. Without choline, the brain's recording button is never fully pressed. Pillar 2, structural phospholipids. Your child's brain is 60% fat, but it cannot be any fat. It requires specific long-chain omega-3s, DHA and EPA. These are the bricks and mortar of the cell membranes. Wild-caught salmon, algae, and walnuts provide the structural integrity required for those fiber-optic cables we discussed. Slow fats equal slow brain. Elite fats equal elite performance. Pillar 3, the antioxidant shield. The developing brain is highly susceptible to oxidative stress. Think of it as biological rust. Anthocyanins, found in deep pigmented berries, act as a high-tech shield, protecting delicate neural pathways from damage. This is how we maintain the plasticity of the brain, keeping it open to learning and growth. The direction you take today will echo for decades. We live in a world that profits from your child being overstimulated, undernourished, and easily distracted. Choosing the Neuro-Nutrition blueprint is an act of rebellion. It is a commitment to biological excellence. You have the data, you have the science, and now you have the map. Stop feeding the hunger of today and start fueling the leader of tomorrow, because in the end, your child's potential isn't determined by their genes, it is determined by the stewardship of their biology. This is Parenting IQ. Structure the nutrition, protect the brain, secure the future.